Okay, everybody, welcome, and we've go ahead and stand for the prayer and the pledge of allegiance of the flag, please.
Heavenly Father, may we first start off with just a thank you. Thank you for being the loving, wonderful, merciful God that you are. Thank you for all your blessings you bestow upon us as a council, all of our citizens in Talbot County, those who give back, those who respond, those who love. We thank you. Please be with us just in these days, in these times. We ask for your guidance, your love, your mercy, and we're appreciative for it. In Jesus' most precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stepp. Appreciate it. Okay, I want to welcome everybody tonight. We've got real special guest in the audience, Mr. Past President Pack. So appreciate you being here, my man. Yes, yes, sir. One of my mentors, you know, one of my mentors. So,
I like your comfortable place.
there you go, there you go. Tonight's agenda is before council. So is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
No.
Okay, hearing none, the chair moves that the agenda be accepted as unanimous consent. The next is the minutes of January 11th that are before us, and has council taken a look at that?
Yes.
Okay, so is there any additions, deletions, or correction to that?
No.
Okay, so the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Next is the disbursements of January 23rd that are before us. Has the council had a chance to take a look at it? And is there any deletions, corrections, or additions? Okay, good. Okay, here known that the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, so we got another special guest. We're going to do a presentation and a recognition of Mr. Bill Shrieves. We want to welcome him. And Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read the proclamation or the recognition, please? That'd be great.
Certificate of recognition to William H. Bill Shrieves. Whereas, since retiring to Talbot County in 1999 with his wife Jean, Bill Shrieves has volunteered his time, energy, and expertise to various service-oriented organizations throughout the county which assist the community. And whereas, of particular interest to Bill are those organizations which provide services to senior citizens. So much so that in 2005, he and his wife started the business Comfort Keepers for the purpose of providing customized home care to elderly individuals and other adults in need of assistance, and as a member and former president of the Upper Shore Aging Board of Directors, which serves Talbot, Caroline, and Kent counties. And whereas, in addition to the time and effort involved in owning and operating a business, Bill has found the time to spearhead fundraising projects for organizations with which he was involved, including the Mustang Raffle sponsored by the Rotary Club of St. Michael's, organize volunteers to help clean up neighborhoods, rebuild roads, and repair homes. Said projects, which eventually evolved into the nonprofit organization known as Bay 100 Community Volunteers, whose mission for the past 20 years has been to improve the living conditions of senior citizens in Talbot County while raising awareness of the need for adequate, safe, and affordable housing. And whereas, now a survivor of his own battle with pancreatic cancer, Bill's volunteer spirit rallied former employees, friends, and family to form the Midshore Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, which is committed to supporting others facing this dreaded disease through a 5K pan-can run at Hogneck Golf Course each year. Therefore, we, the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby bestow upon William H. Bill Shrieves this certificate of recognition as a token of the esteem and gratitude of our community for embodying what it means to volunteer on this, the 23rd day of January 2024.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Is there a motion second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay. Bill, you want to come on up? Yep. Andy? Come on up. He should come up. Come on here. Come on. I know you'll hate me after this. You know, that's no problem. I don't get to do this much. Well, but Bill got you there. So that's what's great.
And the other way
That's-
around.
Yes, exactly.
So, Mr.
Yes, sir.
President, do I get
Yes.
to say anything?
No, you don't have to say, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything, but, you know, we just appreciate you, and I really just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell the public who you are and what you did for the whole, you know, committee and that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
First, let me thank the
Yeah.
council for this
Yeah.
honor. I accept it on behalf of all the volunteers from
Yeah.
all those organizations you
Yeah.
just mentioned that do
Yeah.
such great work in the
Yeah.
county, particularly for seniors.
Mhm.
But I'd like to particularly talk about Upper Shore Aging.
Mhm.
It was 5.5 years ago when the council appointed me to the board of Upper Shore Aging. As a matter of fact, the person that called me and asked me if I would serve was the then county manager, Andy Hollis.
Mhm.
So I got the clear message from the council at that time that there was ample opportunity for improvement at Upper Shore Aging. And I took that as my charge and responsibility from the council. And with the help of Councilman Lesher, who was your appointee on the representative on the board, we began to rebuild the board and refocus the board and turn it into a board that was actively engaged in the operation of Upper Shore Aging. But probably the milestone in the transformation for Upper Shore Aging was when the board appointed Andy Hollis as our executive director about 18 months ago. Since then, Andy has re-energized the staff, refocused them on the mission to serve seniors, rebuilt relationships with our service partners, and generally got us headed in the right direction. And more recently, we've focused on fundraising
Yeah.
because we realize we can't come to the county for all our funding needs, and we've launched an active fundraising campaign, had an annual appeal last year for the first time, which was successful, and are focused on some major donors now to try to raise some funds from other sources other than sitting here and coming to you for the funds. So I feel good about what's happened at Upper Shore Aging. It's headed in the right direction. Got ways to go, but I feel good about what I was able to do with the help of Andy there. On the other nonprofits, the Bay Hunter Community Volunteers continues to be a real active provider in the county. We do home repairs and wheelchair ramps. Last year, we did 19 home repair projects and installed 27 wheelchair ramps for residents of the county with a need.
Wow.
Invested about $78,000 in those projects, helping our neighbors. You mentioned the Midshore Pancreatic Cancer Foundation. Yes, we're active in that, and our main focus there is patient support.
Great.
At any given time, we're working with typically about a half a dozen pancreatic cancer patients on the Midshore. Anything from taking them to therapy to paying a rent bill or an electric bill or whatever it takes. We even bought a set of false teeth one time. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah,
That's good.
again, I
Yeah.
want to thank you for
Yeah.
the recognition
Yeah.
and I appreciate it, and we'll
Yeah.
continue. I'm going to stay engaged with Upper Shore Aging
Well,
as well.
that's great. That's great.
Mainly in the fundraising area, but
Yeah. Well, that's
Thank you
great.
again.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Council? Keisha?
Well, Bill, I met you years ago, and Comfort Keepers is a godsend to a lot of people in the community that are seniors. My mother-in-law has Parkinson's, and she uses that service quite a bit. So I thank you for all your efforts, all the work that you've done serving on the board of the Upper Shore Aging. and much success in the future, because I know you won't slow down at all.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you for all you do for the community.
Like most volunteers that I know, they're first to thank everyone else, and clearly you're no exception. So it shows your humbleness. So, but thank you for everything you do. I mean, thank you for, just, Andy, thank you for your comments. Just telling Bill to talk about himself, because it's well deserved, and we hope we're doing all of your services justice by presenting this to you tonight. Great job.
Thank you.
Well, I just want the people of Talbot County to know that Bill Shrieves is a strategic thinker. He's a visionary. He's an effective manager of change, and he's a leader who is able to bring the rest of the board and the organization along to transform an organization that was severely resource constrained. Oh, and he's an effective advocate on behalf of the organization. All of those things. And as a consequence, we have an effective agency here that does so much for our community, not only running our senior centers and all the programming that's available there, but our Meals and Wheels program, a health navigator, and so much more. People are living better lives in our community because of Bill Shrieves. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah. Bill, like Mr. Lusher said, you've changed a lot of lives with senior citizens, that's for sure. You've changed the whole sort of concept around there too, and you're going to be well missed. And I'm glad you're hanging around and still going to be involved and stuff. But knowing you for the last, 4 or 5 years, you've been excellent. It's a pleasure knowing you. You've come up with great ideas, and we've talked so many times. And to be able to talk in a way, to be able to get Andy, beside you. And not only that, your partner in crime back there, sitting back there too, Charlene, So, it's a really good team that's been put together, And Andy, you're in charge of everything, and you're doing a fantastic job, that's for sure. And we can't thank you guys enough for all that you do, and we definitely have your back and backing you. And everything that we can do, we're here for you, because, I think all of us, in a way, around here have some attachment to that place, or have a relative there, or somebody. So, and, every year that we get the opportunity for the Christmas parties, the Thanksgiving parties, and stuff like that, it's so much fun to be there and to be able to serve. It really is. And you're a big part of that. Andy, you're a big part of the whole crew. So thanks for all you do. So we've got a presentation here for you. So if you don't mind coming up. Andy, I won't make you come up. Okay. Yep. Yeah, come on. Anybody that would like to come on up, the crew? Okay, that's good. All right, come on. Yep. Okay, friends, family, committee, the board.
Did you want to
Yep.
give a shot, Andy?
Come on down. Aging board?
Yeah.
Oh, Bill's wife. Did you have Bill's wife come up?
Yeah.
There she is. Good. How about Bill's wife?
Absolutely.
Of course. Sure.
Just either side here, for the photographers.
Very nice.
It's hard to get
I think so. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda would be the proclamation for National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read the proclamation, please, into the record?
Proclamation Human Trafficking Awareness Month, January 2024. Whereas every year nearly 25 million men, women, and children are trafficked and deprived of their freedom, human rights, and dignity. And according to the University of Maryland School of Social Work, there have been over 1,038 reports of child sex trafficking screened by the Maryland Department of Social Services Child Protective Services Screening Unit since 2013. And whereas human trafficking is a serious problem on the Eastern Shore, whereby traffickers use violence, threats, deception, and other manipulative tactics to force and coerce young people, both boys and girls, and adults, to engage in commercial sex acts or to provide labor or services against their will. And whereas human trafficking is among the fastest growing criminal activities in the world, second only to drug trafficking, and the state of Maryland has enacted comprehensive anti-human trafficking laws with a focus on criminal prosecution and victim support. And whereas Talbot County recognizes the considerable moral and economic harm of human trafficking to our communities, our states, and the nation, that bringing a greater awareness to this problem will help victims, and that by bringing awareness to human trafficking within the Midshore region of Maryland, we bring the victims hope and the natural-born freedoms all human beings should enjoy. And whereas Talbot County recognizes that increased public awareness and education within our organizations will provide more opportunities to recognize and aid in the fight against human trafficking. Now therefore we, the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby declare the month of January Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Talbot County, and urge all citizens to actively work toward the eradication of human trafficking. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 23rd of January in the year of our Lord 2024.
Okay, Madam Secretary, great. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion second. Yep, got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayden?
Okay, so you guys want to come on up?
Thank you all so much for making this recognition this evening. I'm Katie with For All Seasons, and for those of you who don't know For All Seasons, we are your community behavioral health and rape crisis center, and we provide therapy, psychiatry, victim and crisis support, and education and outreach in the community. And we are here tonight because For All Seasons is part of the Maryland Regional Navigator Program from the governor's office. And so we provide human trafficking support to survivors and their families in our region. And we also do education and outreach in the community. We provide presentations for businesses and organizations who are interested in learning more and helping out. And on our website, we have a lot of information about what is human trafficking, how to spot signs and symptoms of trafficking situations, and what we can all do about it to help out. It is a serious issue. We do see trafficking victims in our office pretty much every day. And so we really want to make the public aware that this is an important issue. We do have another local expert here tonight. We have Julie Crane, who is going to share a little bit about human trafficking from her side of the house. And she works, she's the head of Harriet's House, and she is on the Eastern Shore Human Trafficking Task Force.
So my name is Julie Crane. I'm the executive director of Harriet's House, and we are an anti-human trafficking organization focused on bringing freedom and healing to women survivors of human trafficking. So we do also education and awareness, and we also house women survivors for up to 18 months so that they can get their lives back through education and getting job training and things like that. But I'm here on behalf of the Human Trafficking Task Force of the Eastern Shore. And this task force was created after Human trafficking was exposed here in Easton in 2010, as most of us are aware. There was a brothel that was exposed on Dover Road. So that's when the task force was first started, and through that they've raised awareness over the years and also have brought awareness of other cases that have happened across the Eastern Shore. So there's been cases that have been in a lot of the counties across the Eastern Shore, but especially in the Mid-Shore. We've had cases in Caroline County. There were several that have gone all the way through the system there. But the problem with human trafficking is that it's not easily identified, and survivors aren't coming forward to say that they've been trafficked because they're fearful of the traffickers. And sometimes people don't realize that they are victims. So there's a lot of work to still be done to educate and bring awareness about the issue. And so we thank you for recognizing this month as Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
And I did also want to mention, we have Lauren Weber here. And, she has some red sand. We're doing the red sand project this month and into early February. So if the council would like some red sand, photograph yourselves pouring the red sand into cracks of the sidewalk. This symbolizes that sometimes victims are hiding in plain sight. But it's really about sparking conversation. People see the red sand in the sidewalk, they ask what it is. And it's just kind of an awareness building exercise. So Lauren will share that with you all before we leave. So
That's great. That's good. Lauren, do you want to say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Got our full day of the year.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, it's easy to think that it's not happening here. But really, truly, we do see it. Can you see?
Yeah. You can pull them. Yeah, there you go. If you
That's
could
a
pull.
workout for the glutes.
Yeah, that's good.
We really do see it every day here in Talbot County, but also throughout the 5 counties that we serve. It's shocking what we see, and it's only through partnerships with sister nonprofit agencies, but also folks like you, that we can respond and proactively put a stop to it. So thank you all for hearing us. We have some materials we'll leave behind.
Okay.
I'd also encourage you, we do a lot around the education and around human trafficking 101 because it is so hard to identify. So feel free to tell, not just, we don't want to just share this message with you, but tell your neighbors and the organizations that come into contact with folks that might need a little bit of help.
Okay, that's great. That's great. All right, Mr. Steph?
It's tough to comment here because it's disturbing that we even have to recognize this. We're incredibly happy to recognize it, but the fact that it even exists is just incredibly disturbing. So I know these are not easy cases to have to assist with, so just kudos to having the strength to help folks who are victims and those who don't even know that they're victims. So thank you for helping them aid that they are, and thank you for what you do. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
I'll add my thanks to the work that you're doing to raise awareness of this issue and the fact that it is not just an issue across the country, but present right here in our community, and for the work that your agencies are doing to help the victims.
I remember the days when For All Seasons started, and observing their activities over all these years is just spectacular. And to address behavioral issues as they develop and become more and more problems in our society is great. What Harriet's House does is fabulous. And I'm so glad that in our small community here on the Eastern Shore that we identify with these problems and that we do something about it. And so I commend all of you and thank you so much for what you do for behavioral health and for the safety of others. Thank you.
So I'll echo what my colleagues say. So I work with girls in middle school, and we educate them on this very issue. We partner with the Eastern Shore Human Trafficking Initiative to do that, to make sure that these middle school girls know what to look for. and if they, have a sense of any victims in the middle school. So I appreciate all the work that you do. We have much more to do in light of educating people within the community, because there are individuals that think that this does not exist in our community, and we very well know that it does. So thank you.
Yep. And like my colleague said, really appreciate the three of you and your whole sort of staff and everything doing this, because it's so important to the community and the other communities. So thanks so much for all you do. That's for sure. So we got a little accommodation here for you, if you guys want to come on up.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, there we go. Look good, guys.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda, it's we're going to have an update with the Talbot County Department of Social Services on Kids Advocacy Center. Linda, you want to come on up?
I see. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi,
How are
it's
you?
good to see you all. I think this is the second year in a row that just by chance I was here to update you on the Children's Advocacy Center immediately following the recognition of Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So I'll talk a little bit about how the CAC serves individuals that are unfortunately. Am I using this now? Oh, here we go. Ah, okay. So I'll give you a little bit of an update about the Children's Advocacy Center shortly. But what I wanted to do was to update you on the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, because there have been some updates and that program has been extended. So it's still available to Talbot County residents. And then I'll do some updates on last year's performance in some areas that you may be particularly interested in because you support these programs. And those include the Citizens Emergency Fund, the Empower Me Child Safety Program, and then of course our Children's Advocacy Center. You know, the Department of Social Services does a lot. We provide child welfare and adult services, we oversee the public assistance programs, and we operate the child support services in the county, but I'm going to focus on just these programs tonight. So the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program is a temporary program that is funded by the American Rescue Plan. And originally, it was supposed to end at the end of the federal fiscal year last year, September 30th, 2023, but they've extended it through March the 31st. They have increased the maximum amount that any individual can receive from $2,000 to $10,000. This is a one-time payment that goes toward arrearages for residential water and or wastewater, and it's paid directly to the water wastewater service provider. An individual has to be at least 30 days past due. There was a minimum $100 due that was originally included in the program. There is no minimum now. And the payment must satisfy the account so that the individual then is in good standing with the utility provider. So here's the eligibility requirements. Maryland resident, responsible for the bill, live at the property for which the assistance is being requested, and meet program income criteria. Now, there are a lot of individuals that are what's called categorically eligible for the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, which means that if anyone in the household is receiving one of these benefits programs, they are automatically eligible to receive the assistance from the Water Assistance Program. And here you'll see the impact that the program has had. It was initiated in April of 2022. Since then, we've served, now this was through the last fiscal year, so that's through June 2023. We've served 70 individuals. We've paid out a little over $21,000. And the municipalities that are included in the program are to the left there: Easton Utilities, the Talbot Sanitary District, the Town of Trapp, and St. Michael's Commissioners. So we've been reaching out to individuals that may not have met eligibility criteria when they applied the first time to see whether or not they would qualify now, so that we can get them assistance before the program ends. And we've done additional advertising that the program date has been extended through March the 31st, and we're trying to get in as many people as we can to get that program benefit before it ends. Anyone wants to apply, this is how you can do it. You can actually apply online. You can call us and we can get you a paper application, or you can download it. And then you can either drop it off, mail it, fax it, or email it to us. And here is our contact information, as well as our fax and email addresses. And we will process that application, and if you're eligible, we will get you get that benefit paid to your water or wastewater provider. I want to talk a little bit about the Citizens Emergency Fund. This is a program that is actually funded by the county. And I'm always appreciative of the wisdom of local governments that understand that not everyone qualifies for federal or state assistance. And so this fund actually helps fill those service gaps and helps individuals that may be falling through the cracks. So we make payments directly to vendors to avoid eviction or provide temporary housing, to provide utility disconnects, and to meet other emergency needs. And generally, as I said, we serve individuals that don't meet the eligibility criteria for federal or state programs, who need emergency support until they do qualify for those programs if they have applied, or where there are no programs that exist to serve their needs. So here's a little bit of information on how the Citizens Emergency Fund was used in the last fiscal year. You can see that most of the money goes to really miscellaneous needs where there is no program to meet the need. So those include things like paying for food, paying for gasoline so individuals can get back and forth to doctor's appointments or to work, personal items, personal hygiene items, clothing. The 520 incidents of assistance, there are some duplicates in there, so those are not individuals, but that's the number of times that we assisted the county in fiscal year 2020, where are we, 3, using the emergency fund for those items. And then we had 3 individuals with whom we assisted eviction prevention or temporary housing, 1 with transportation, and then 1 with utility expense. Empower Me. Empower Me is a child safety program. It is intended to avoid child sex abuse by providing both children and their parents or caregivers information on child safety. So you see here that we focus on teaching children about using their gut instinct. If they just feel like something isn't right, it probably isn't. We teach them to develop an adult safety net, and we teach them 4 safety rules. Check first. If someone comes to pick you up or invites you into a home, check with your parent first. Never go, even if it's someone that you know. We teach them about all touches. Children are asked to think of touches in the context of, is this touch keeping me clean and healthy, and am I allowed to talk about it? We teach children to tell to get help. The difference between tattling and telling. We tell when we find out that someone is being hurt. We always get a grown-up involved if someone is getting hurt. And finally, no secrets. We teach that we never keep secrets from the adults that are taking care of us, and we talk about the difference between secrets and surprises. So if we're having a surprise party, that's a surprise, it's not a secret. Here are some of the places that we've provided our Empower Me presentations. You'll see schools, churches. We do community presentations. We presented at child care programs, detention centers, recreational organizations, and here you can see the impact in fiscal year 2023. We first conducted our sessions in Talbot County Public Schools. For the last several years, we've conducted Empower Me in every first grade class in Talbot County Public Schools, reaching 320 children and 20 adults. We worked with Talbot County Public Schools after Aaron's Law was passed, which requires all public schools in each state to implement a prevention-oriented child sex abuse program. Since then, as I said, we've been in every first grade classroom in Talbot County Public Schools since 2019. We also work with Saints Peter and Paul and do these presentations in all of their elementary school classrooms. Last year, we worked with Polaris Village Academy, and we've done some community presentations in the last year. We also adapted Empower Me to work with Talbot mentors and provide a program for teenagers. Empower Me is really only provided to children through elementary school. So we did some adaptations to meet the need for Talbot mentors. And if you have any questions or you'd like a presentation, Paris Quillette from our office is the person to contact. All right, let's talk about the Children's Advocacy Center. As I said, I think this is the second year in a row that I've been invited just by chance during Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to share this very brief, I think it's 2-minute presentation, so that people who are watching and hearing about the CAC for the first time can get a little information about what CACs do and how they help kids.
A Children's Advocacy Center, or CAC, provides support to victims of child abuse. Without a CAC, an abused child may have to tell their story over and over again in settings that may be scary or where kids may think that they're in trouble. Then, families have to search around for the services their children need, all on their own. But in a CAC, a child tells their story to a trained interviewer who makes the process gentle on the child and finds the facts which are crucial to the child's case. Then, a community of professionals in medicine, law enforcement and child protective services, prosecution, victim advocacy, and other heroes work through the CAC to decide the best way to help the child. And CACs provide science-backed mental health care that heals kids from trauma and helps them reclaim their futures. This community of caring professionals rallies around the child so children have everything they need, all in one place, at the CAC. To find your local CAC or to sign up for updates, visit nationalchildren'salliance.org.
So that was just a brief PowerPoint, presentation by the National Children's Alliance, and that's the organization that accredits children's advocacy centers, including our CAC. So as the video explained, a CAC is a comprehensive response to child abuse that is offered by a multidisciplinary team of professionals in a child-friendly location, and it is a model of best practice in supporting children and families who have experienced trauma through child sex abuse. You'll see here, this is just a visual of the Children's Advocacy Center model. You see the child and the non-offending caregiver in the center of the circle, and those who provide direct service, including our medical team, mental health and other service providers, and our family advocate. And they are supported by the multidisciplinary team, which includes the state's attorney's office, law enforcement, and our child protective services social workers. As you know, we have a 20-year relationship with the hospital, currently University of Maryland Shore Regional Health. They provide the space. DSS provides staffing and administrative support, and all other costs are funded through grants, fundraising by Talbot Community Connections, and the funds that you provide to us. With regard to human trafficking, in FY23, we worked with 2 victims from the previous fiscal year and 4 new cases. We've been involved in the following ways, and these often include the FBI or other federal agencies, investigating, safety planning with the victim and non-offending caregiver, victim advocacy services, mental health services, multidisciplinary team staffing, and forensic interviews. So the CAC really provides services across the gamut, as well as to federal agencies. I think this is what I'm most interested in sharing with you, and that is, if you look at the increase in the number of sessions that are held with our family advocate, and that's a position that provides support to the child, to the non-offending caregiver, from the minute they walk through the door of the Children's Advocacy Center, through every system that they engage with, and we never close a case. Those individuals can come back to us over and over and over again as they need support, as they move through their lives. So look at the way the sessions with the family advocate have increased over the years. Now in 2020, I think we were just beginning to gather that data, and we probably weren't as good at it as we are now. So 297 may have been an underestimate, but you can see from there we've gone from 531 incidents in 21, 630 in 22, 729 in 23. So as we grow our programming, you'll see that we see and work with families for longer and providing them with more services. Last year we served 180 children and adults. We conducted 71 forensic interviews. Those are interviews conducted by specially trained social workers. And we conducted 27 medical examinations. As you know, we operate the regional medical program, so those medical exams were for children in Talbot, Caroline, Queen Anne's, Kent, and Dorchester counties. We also helped to provide financial assistance for emergency stabilization to 73 children and 28 caregivers. Providing those resources to help meet immediate needs really helps family focus on healing after the trauma of abuse. So finally, what's new at the Children's Advocacy Center? I was able to secure, by sharing the details of the increased services being provided at our Children's Advocacy Center, a state merit position this past year, which allowed us to create a supervisor position. We had, in addition to our family advocate, we had one staff person who was doing everything: writing grants, monitoring grants, reporting on grants, scheduling the multidisciplinary team, scheduling the medical exams, and now we've been able to create another position to break out some of those tasks, as well as to provide effective supervision to the CAC staff. We're also seeking resources to fund a second family advocate position. As you saw, the incidence of support that family advocate position has been providing just continues to increase year after year. And finally, I'd just like to extend an open invitation. We would welcome any of you to come and visit the Children's Advocacy Center. I know some of you have had the opportunity. Not everyone has. We would welcome you to come, take a brief tour. We'll show you where we do the important work of the Children's Advocacy Center. And then if you have any questions or would like to schedule a tour, and I would open that invitation to anyone in the public, this is how you get in touch with me.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yep. Mr. Stepp?
Again, tough to even make a comment here, Linda, but I'll kind of reiterate what I said, last in our last presentation. So, number one, thank you for the work that you do.
Takes a team.
We're in absolutely, all of your staff, all of the ecosystem around around what it is that you do, which is incredibly important. Again, the fact that we even need to have something like this is incredibly disturbing. And when you had us out a year ago, and we learned about this, I mean, obviously, in this position, we get to learn about the good, the bad, and the ugly. This one, I would say, certainly falls in the latter. And it's, like I said, I cannot just express how important it is that we have these services, important it is the work that you do. I pray that there's a special place in hell for those who offend and for those who bring children to the CAC. So I'll end with just another thank you, and please keep up the good work you're doing.
Thank you.
Well, I serve as this council's liaison to the Social Services Board, and so I get to hear about all of these programs in depth. I have had the opportunity to tour the Children's Advocacy Center and see the really lovely facility that we provide for the important work that you do there. I'd certainly encourage my colleagues to take a look there. It is worth the time to take a visit there. And thanks too for getting the word out about these other programs, including that low-income household water assistance program, and all the work that you do through all these programs for the people in the Talbot County community.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do, and to reiterate what Vice President Lesher said, appreciate informing the public of services that are available. Thank you.
And I'll echo that. Thank you for your work, and thank you for continuing to keep us up to date on the efforts of your department.
Thanks.
And I'll say the same, Linda. It's a pleasure working with you through the years. I mean, you do such a special job and special person, and your staff is phenomenal. We come up there once or twice a year and see you guys, and all the stuff that you do to help this community, and not just this community, but the surrounding 5 counties. Mm-hmm. So it's really good to know that we have people like you that serve us as a community and help us. So I really appreciate everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
Yep.
having the time to
Yep.
share what we do with you.
Yep. Please come in anytime. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Next is Mr. Kevin Shafer. You want to come on up, and Kevin is the Director of Operations for the Talbot County Public Schools, and he's going to bring us up to speed on the Maryland Stadium Authority Building and Learning Acting Fund that we're going to need to deal with during this project at Chapel. So, how are you doing, Kevin? Good?
Good, President Callahan.
That's
Thank
good.
you very much.
That's good. That's good. So,
Good evening, members of the
Good.
council and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. So I come before the council this evening to request consideration on 2 topics. The first is, as President Callahan said, the memorandum of understanding between the Board of Education, the Maryland Stadium Authority, and the County Council, a request for that approval of that. So just a little background. The Built to Learn Act granted the Maryland Stadium Authority the ability to issue revenue bonds to fund school construction projects, and it's in collaboration with the Interagency Commission for School Construction. And the formula for determining counties' eligibility for funding is basically associated with your student enrollment, your student population. So as the slide displays, Talbot is eligible for $3.878 million in Built to Learn Act funding, and Talbot County Public Schools has done kind of the legwork to submit the informational requirements to be eligible for this. The last piece of this puzzle, I guess, is the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, which has been submitted to the council for review by legal staff. So this evening I am just going to talk very quickly about the estimated state funding, and it is still estimated excluding what's in green, which is the design funding, which the state has approved for $1,005,000. That funding is allocated to the project and can be used for design or construction. And so it's just funding that was granted in FY24. In FY25, we've requested 1.3 million from the capital improvement plan. And then you'll see the Maryland Stadium Authority, 3.8 million. So those three numbers, the red and the yellow, equal the 6.2 million, which is the total request of the state thus far for the chapel project. The FY26 capital improvement plan would request the remaining balance of estimated state funding of 7.4 approximately, and then total estimated state funding of 13.59 million. That is currently what the state is estimating they're going to contribute to this project. So with all of that said, I am asking this evening for the council to consider approving the MOU and entering into that MOU with the Maryland Stadium Authority and the Board of Education. But I can certainly ask or answer any questions that the council may have before considering.
Okay. Any questions, council? Yes?
No questions. I make a motion to approve the MOU.
Okay. Okay, we got a, Mr. Lesher?
Just before we take this to a vote, I know that we've addressed this before, but could you remind the public the particular advantage of going to the Maryland Stadium Authority for this special fund? This is lower interest bonds. The advantage of using this as partial financing for the Chapel School project.
Yeah, Mr. Ledger, you said it well, and that's basically the benefit. The other benefit I would say is that it's not restricted by the typical schedule. The council's funding has to go through an appropriations process, and so does the state funding through the capital improvement plan. But the Maryland Stadium Authority, that funding, once the MOU is agreed to, is available right away. So the project would be able to, if we had issues with electrical equipment, which have long lead times right now, or if we needed to enter into contract for portable classroom trailers, we could do that, and it wouldn't impact the schedule of the project.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. So we got a motion, and do we have a second?
We do.
Okay, we got,
I did.
okay,
I seconded.
okay, we got a motion and second to go ahead and approve the MOU for the school. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Okay, so next up, we got a Mr. Shafer is going to go ahead and give us a presentation on the new school, the renovation and additions.
Yes. So the second item is the construction document submission to the state. I am requesting that the council consider supporting the submission, and this is the third submission associated with this project. So we've gone through and gotten approval for the schematic design, the design development, and now this is the third and final design phase that we're asking for support for. So number one, I am flying solo tonight. I was supposed to have some help here from Hord, Coplan, Macht. Unfortunately, I had an emergency and we're not able to make it. So Mr. Winebrenner gives his apologies. So with that said, some of this presentation, which would have been presented by him, I'm going to probably abbreviate quite significantly because I'm not going to try to give you the architect's talk. But with that being said, the project itself has progressed well. I need to give kudos to the architectural team of Hord, Coplan, and Macht, and also to Whiting Turner for their pre-construction services associated with the project. We've met all deadlines thus far and have gotten approval, as I said, on the two previous state submissions. So kudos to them, and thank you for their help with this important project. So as far as the specifics of the project, I am going to focus on the things that I know best, which are project schedule. So as of right now, the vertical red line there is where we're at, seeking construction document support from the council. We've already received it from the board, and then we're looking for a February 1st construction document submission to the state. We're hoping for a quick review once again, and then as soon as that review is done, we would look to move into bidding the project out. And everyone involved in the project feels that we've got good timing if we can maintain that schedule, just as far as projects of this size and scope are limited right now in the area. So as far as the site plan, these are some details that you've seen before. We've gotten approval from State Highway to add that third, it's the third curb cut, but it's really a bus entrance. So the current design, or the current layout at Chapel, has the buses and vehicles coming in the same entrance. We would separate that and allow a bus-only entrance just for promote safety, obviously, for traffic and student safety. And then we're still looking at approximately 16,000 square feet of addition that are outlined there in the orange. And that gives you kind of an idea of what those areas might be. We're basically adding classroom space, media center, and the Critchlow-Atkins portion of the project is in addition as well. And then there's a significant amount of mechanical space that will be part of the addition as well. And then I'm going to breeze through these, the slideshow here, but we just have some renderings of the building as it is currently designed. So this is the main entrance, media center. The main entrance is under the awning there on the right. That is another picture of the actual main entrance. So you can see that if those that are familiar with Chapel, the aging brick, we are looking to remove some of that brickwork and replace to make the building look more modern. That's the Critchlow entrance. That's the Critchlow addition from the back view. Playgrounds. The current courtyard is going to be upgraded and have an artificial surface, maintenance free, and it'll provide an outdoor classroom setting. And then just some interior pictures of what you're looking at as far as color scheme and finishes. There's a view of the media center that will be in addition. So we maybe overdid it with the slides here. So that concludes the design portion of the presentation. Next is the cost estimate, and so the council has a couple documents that are independent of the presentation tonight for review, but the public-facing documents document for the cost estimate I'm going to walk through here. So in green at the top, that is the FY24 design funding, which is confirmed. FY25 and 26 are the estimated construction funding required from local and state funding sources for a total of $25.95 million for construction and site work. And that number will match the construction document budget that you have within your documents. So that $25.9 million is broken down by division, so you can kind of see what the specific costs by division are. Other costs include the CMR, construction management fee, fixtures, furniture, and equipment, hazardous materials removal, asbestos abatement, commissioning. All of that is estimated to be about $4.3 million, which would be local costs as well. So the total estimated project cost is $31.7 million, which is roughly in line slightly less than the state's estimates for building this size, so their cost per square foot. The second document that you have that's independent of the presentation tonight is an estimated cost summary that I prepared. And on that document, highlighted in yellow, gives a cost breakdown between the county, state, and then the total, which will match that 31.7. And then highlighted in red at the very bottom is what I am estimating will be the local portion of this project after all reimbursements are received. So, my apologies, I just noticed that the date is wrong at the top of that second sheet there. It should be 2024. So that concludes the presentation tonight. As far as the construction document submission, I can try and answer any questions that the council may have.
Okay. The council? Good? None? Good?
So what we're looking at is consistent with the previous estimates that you've brought to us here. We've managed to keep this in line of those earlier estimates.
They are generally in line. There have been some shifts in the cost estimates from Whiting Turner. I think overall, the construction and site work costs have gone up, but the estimated cost to the county has remained consistent. And I guess what I would say, Mr. Lesher, is that the goal from the start is to not. I never want to be a shock to the council, so I want to give you a reasonable estimate from the start, and then we shoot to maintain that. And so, for me, the local funding number has been very consistent throughout, and so that's been my goal, and I hope that the council appreciates that. So
we do.
Yeah.
We do.
And again, consistent with past presentations, we've not considered upfront capital costs that might result in utilities, reduced utilities cost over time, rooftop solar, geothermal, the other types of options that sometimes get plugged into projects like this.
Yes. So basis of design is going to include geothermal.
It does. Okay.
It does. And we also are going to have an add alternate that will include a 50% offset of electrical consumption by solar. So it's going to be an add alternate. It's not currently included in this pricing, but what we're hoping is that, quite honestly, we're hoping that the bid process is beneficial to us, and that we will be able to afford some of those add alternates that we have identified, solar being one of them. And I will certainly make the council aware, that'll be part of the next step, would be after bid, we'd come back with a guaranteed maximum price for the project, and those are some things that we could talk about that time as far as the alternates and their cost.
And did you say that would be an off-site, or that would be a rooftop?
Yeah, it would be on-site. It would be ground mount on-site.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So, since we have the space, maintenance concerns with rooftop solar are a real thing, and there's going to be a lot of equipment on the roof anyways, so it makes sense to, because of the space that we have, to do a ground mount if we can.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. Good job, Kevin.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second for that approval.
Okay. We've got a motion second to go ahead and approve the construction document submission. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Heath?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Appreciate it. Good job. Okay, kind of moving on with the agenda here. Next up is an introduction of Amendment 2 for Resolution 347. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read that, please?
Well, 347 is a resolution to amend the Talbot County Comprehensive Water and Sewer Plan to provide the equivalent dwelling units for all phases of the lakeside development. And it would read, the proposed amendment would read, a resolution to amend the Talbot County Comprehensive Water and Sewer Plan to provide the equivalent dwelling units for all phases of the lakeside development for consistency with discharge permit number 19 DP 3460 issued by the Maryland Department of the Environment on October 27, 2022, and to require that any future expansion of the new lakeside wastewater treatment plant shall require an amendment to the comprehensive water sewer plan.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Thomas?
Yes,
You wanna
this
go ahead?
amendment was requested by Vice President Lesher at our meeting last week. What it does is incorporates Resolution 338 and its amendment into Resolution 347.
Okay, all right. All right, so at this time, is there a raise of hands of who wants to introduce this?
Do you want any further background or explanation on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So none of this in here is new language. And as I articulated in my request last week for this, the intent simply is to provide an alternative path for the Planning Commission to come to a finding of consistency. I think we need resolutions 347 and 348, both to reach adoption in order to satisfy the outstanding items from MDE that we need to complete our report of the review for the Comprehensive Water and Sewer Plan. 347 and 348 help us to button those issues up that MDE has charged us with. These resolutions don't get back to Council's desk unless and until the Planning Commission makes a finding of consistency with each of them. And on 347, this simply gives an alternative for the Planning Commission to say, yes, with this language, if you combine it, we can find this consistent. So they may find Resolution 347 consistent without this amendment. They may find it consistent both without and with this amendment. If we get those alternatives, we then have that option to act at the council level. Without that finding of consistency, though, this resolution doesn't reach our desk, and we don't have that way of bringing closure to the outstanding issues from MDE that will allow us to finish that report of the review.
Okay. Any other questions?
Isn't it true, Mr. Thomas, that MDE asked of the council to do the resolutions, and the resolutions that we put forth was 347 and 348 and not 338? So 338 was an addition, it wasn't the actual request from MDE?
That is correct. Resolution 338 was introduced in, I believe, February of 2023, and the letter from MDE was issued in April of 2023.
So therefore, Mr. Lesher, in saying that you're taking the language from 338, which is not the request of MDE, and making an amendment to this resolution is actually opposite of what we were asked to do from MDE. So I'm trying to determine how is that going to pan out.
It's not opposite. It may be completely consistent, but it is beyond. It exceeds what minimally MDE requested of this council.
Based on what Mr. Thomas said, it's not what MDE asked of us, though. 338 is not.
So the challenge is, how do we get this language, how do we get this resolution 347 to our desk? How do we get the Planning Commission to make a finding of consistency? And maybe they do regardless. But if they don't, but this additional language helps get this resolution to the point of a finding of consistency, then the resolution can reach us.
So then how does that play out with MDE if one of the things that MDE does request is that the municipality and the county are on the same page? And with these resolutions, we know that TRAP is not on the same page with the county.
Well, I'm in discussion with members of the Trap Town Council to bring them aboard with this language.
And
But
then do-
right now, we have a letter that supports that they're not, correct? Am I correct in that? Trapp Town
believe that- I
Council
believe
and
that
their
is
attorney.
correct, yes.
Is that correct? Thank you.
Just to say, 338 was introduced when MDE decided that the construction of the wastewater treatment plant would be done in phases. So the purpose of 338 was to be consistent with the ruling of MDE on the construction.
So the language essentially is coming from MDE
D.
in the content of this.
But that's not didn't we give MDE the 347 and 348 to look at?
We did, yes, and they said that after an informal review that they thought it was consistent with what they had asked us to do, but that any formal review would have to wait until we had actually, the councils adopted the resolutions and submitted them to MDE in due course.
So what we initially proposed was initially in agreement with what MDE asked of this council.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Okay.
I'm good.
Raise of hands.
This is for introduction.
Yep.
So introduced by Ms. Milky and myself.
Okay. All right.
You want to schedule the public hearing?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, the public hearing will be scheduled for Tuesday, February 13th at 6:30 PM.
Okay.
16?
13th.
13th. Okay. All right, that sounds great. Okay. All right, moving on. We've got the presentation of a emergency operations plan. Geneva, Brian, you want to come on up? How you guys doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good evening, Council.
Yep. Good evening.
Thank you for providing us some time to chat with you this evening
Yeah.
about the emergency operations plan.
Okay.
So, honestly, this has been, pardon the pun, Geneva's baby over the last year. So, I'm going to turn it over to Geneva and let her present to you what she's been working on.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. My name is Geneva Schaffel, Emergency Management Division Chief for Talbot County Emergency Services. Before I get started, I will say that the project that we're about to present, we use federal grant dollars to go in contract with University of Maryland Centers for Health and Homeland Security to help facilitate this planning process, to include a full plan rewrite, and facilitate a tabletop exercise and functional exercise. So we have been working in junction with them since December of 2022 on the rewrite of our emergency operations plan. Okay, so this evening I'm going to talk about what the plan is, the purpose of the update, the process, the components of the plan, how we're going to integrate this plan, and our next steps. So what is an emergency operations plan? So this plan essentially lies out how we respond to and recover from disasters and or major emergencies within Talbot County. It is a comprehensive plan that talks about who works together, how they work together, how we identify our hazards, and really is that guiding actions for before, during, and after an emergency. This plan is strategic and also has tactical elements as well. Every county is required to have an emergency operations plan. We all use state and federal guidance in creating this plan, except every county has a little bit of uniqueness to their plan to best serve their community and the capabilities that we have here locally. The purpose of this update, we try to update our plans every 5 years. That really is to incorporate best practices, what we've learned from emergencies over that period of time, and any updates to our resources and capabilities. And we also like to follow any changing national or state local guidance that may be applicable to us. So we were due for an update. This was pretty timely that we started this update after COVID. We did learn a lot during COVID about how we operate in emergencies, learned a lot of things for the better.
working with new partners, new capabilities, and this plan does reflect that. So our planning process, we started this December, January timeframe of 2023. We reviewed our current plans, best practices, after action reports from current and past incidents. We created our core planning team, and then that kind of rolled into summer and spring. During that time, we met with all of our partners intensively, asked them what their priorities are, have their capabilities changed, have their resources changed to make sure that we were also serving them. We workshopped with our stakeholders, we wrote the plan. That led us into fall of 2023, where we disseminated the plan for feedback from our partners, our stakeholders. We refined the plan, and then here we are. So tonight, seeking approval for the plan, and then moving forward, integrating and implementing our plan. Our planning components. So this plan has 3 major components. Tonight before us, we have the basic plan. In the basic plan, that outlines how our Emergency Operations Center operates, when we operate, how we integrate with our partners, federal, state, and local, and really the purpose of the document. We also have county coordinating functions. So that plan, or that section of the plan, is very function and mission specific. That section of the plan is meant to be a living document, and that section might look like our sheltering plan, evacuation plan, donations, volunteer management, so very mission specific. It outlines a primary agency, their supporting agencies, and all of their capabilities. The reason why that is living, it is really meant to be reviewed after every emergency when they're activated and used, and always reflecting our current resource status and capabilities. And the final section of the plan being our appendices and annexes, and that's supplemental material. That could be hazard-specific plans, best practices, procedures and policies that enhance our emergency operations plan. But that is just supplemental material to make sure that we're comprehensive in our response. Plan integration. So we don't create plans in a silo. We had many partners work with us to update this plan, but this plan also is not only tactical and operational in nature, but strategic as well. So in this plan, we also align with our hazard mitigation plan, our contingency planning. When we talk about our community pillars, it's first introduced in 2017 in our mitigation plan. This plan, instead of having a mitigation aspect to it, has more of a response aspect to it. But same strategic mindset. We have our 5 community pillars being health, safety, and welfare, economic stability, education, infrastructure, and our environmental pillar. The basis in our emergency operations plan being if any of those pillars are threatened by an emergency, we're responding. The rest of the pillars and all of our partners are working together to uphold and get them back to a new normal. So same mindset, but with more of a response in nature than mitigation. And our next steps. So pending approval of this plan, we want to fully implement this plan. We are in the midst of winter season, so it's very timely. Last week, we had a really successful tabletop exercise with close to 50 of our partners, state, community, nonprofit, our local department heads all participated. And we talked about a scenario, tabletopped it, made sure our plan was accurate, it really reflected what we do. We identified some gaps and some solutions of things we need to work on and refine. And what we'll do is in the spring, we'll host a functional exercise. We'll look more of a hands-on simulated emergency and keep practicing this plan and making sure that we know how to work it and we're prepared for our next storm season.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Thank you.
That
Yeah.
sounds great.
Any questions?
Council?
Nope.
Council?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Stepp?
Well, I could not say something.
I knew you were fidgety over there.
I
You're very fidgety,
texted President
you know?
Callahan, said I'd like to make a couple comments, and he sent back no. Thank you for changing your
I
mind.
tried, guys. I tried.
No, obviously I'm very proud of our emergency management program in Talbot County. We are very unique in this county, and I think when you look at the collaborative of individuals that come together to plan for the dark sky days, it's just really refreshing to see, because everybody comes to the table to share what they need to share to make sure that we're successful. And it's the EM system is a collaborative that addresses public safety, health, and welfare, which is a key priority in addressing the ever-important public trust. This is a big deal. And it was really encouraging last week when I saw about 45 different organizations present, and they walked through a scenario where a hurricane comes up to Chesapeake Bay. I'd like to thank you, Brian, and you, Geneva. Very proud of you. We've come a long way, and you're great leaders leading a good program. So thank you, Council, for letting me say a couple of things.
And I just want to follow up with that, because I can't beat that, but that was awesome, okay? But, being a part of that service for so many years and being in this emergency services myself, it's really a phenomenal feeling to know that we've got such experts out there like you guys in emergencies and in paramedics. And, in the last several years, with the flooding and storms and stuff like that, you guys are worked 24/7. You're out at night. You're helping us. And it's refreshing that we got such a good system out there, and you guys have built that. And I'm very proud of you too, and I'm glad to be a part of it and assisting you and having your back for whatever you need. So I want to commend you. I appreciate the time, and not only you guys, it's the whole staff, and all the employees of emergency services. So because it like Clay said, it takes a team to do all that stuff in many hours, and it hasn't been the easiest in the last 3 years for you guys. So I really appreciate all the hard work and stuff, and you're doing really good stuff. So
we appreciate that.
it.
Yes.
Yep.
So just like you said, it does take a team. So we may be here presenting this evening.
Yeah.
Really, Geneva's presenting this evening.
Yeah.
But there is countless number of people that had input on that plan.
Right.
And tabletop exercise, and even better, the functional exercise in the spring that we're really looking forward to. So thank you.
Yep. Good job. Okay. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Second. Okay. We got a motion second to go ahead and approve the emergency operation plan as presented. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Yeah, great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Go ahead.
So we do have an administrative resolution to officially adopt the plan, I do believe.
Okay. So, yeah, I see.
So in
it.
addition
I
to
would- in
the
addition,
vote,
I was
that
getting-
will enhance it even more.
Okay. So, did you want to call the roll on the first, the plan, or do we just go ahead and get into the?
I just called the roll on the plan.
Okay.
but Now we need the administrative.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, the introduction of the administrative resolution. Could you go ahead and read that then, please?
Administrative resolution adopting the 2024 Emergency Operations Plan for Talbot County, Maryland. Whereas pursuant to Maryland Code annotated Public Safety, Section 14109A12, Talbot County, Maryland, the county is required to establish a local organization for emergency management in accordance with the State of Maryland Emergency Management Plan and Program, and participate in federal emergency management programs as outlined in the Emergency Operations Plan, the plan. And whereas the plan is a common understanding of the fundamentals of risk-informed planning and decision-making to assist the county in examining a hazard or threat and produce an integrated, coordinated, and informed strategy for response and recovery. And whereas the plan was last updated in 2014. And whereas the County Council of Talbot County, Maryland, the County Council, is desirous of updating the plan for consistency with current guidance policy while remaining flexible enough to evolve to reflect lessons learned from actual disaster and emergency incidents and responses, ongoing planning efforts, training, and updated guidance from federal and state agencies, the 2024 plan. And whereas the 2024 plan was written with the intention to coordinate all county stakeholders to prepare and plan for, respond to, and recover from emergencies to ensure the county and its communities are resilient against all natural, man-made, and technological hazards. And whereas the 2024 plan includes a basic plan which outlines when and how the county operates during a disaster, and appendices that guide county partners on their roles and responsibilities during disasters. And whereas the 2024 plan identifies the roles and responsibilities of federal, state, and county agencies and personnel, as well as private organizations that may assist the county during emergencies and disasters within the county. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of Talbot County, Maryland, that the 2024 Emergency Operations Plan, dated January 23, 2024, shall be and is hereby adopted, together with all changes requested by the County Council as set forth in the 2024 plan prior to its adoption. And be it further resolved that this administrative resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. Introduced by the County Council of Talbot County, Maryland, at a regular meeting on January 23, 2024, at which meeting copies were available to the public. Adopted by the County Council of Talbot County, Maryland, at a regular meeting on January 23, 2024, at which meeting copies were made available to the public. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 23rd day of January in the year of our Lord, 2024.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Good job. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion seconded to go ahead and approve as presented. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you all for your
Good-
support
yep.
and your time.
Yep, no problem. Good, great job. Okay. We got county manager report. Got some play stuff.
Thank you. Good evening, council. We have a number of items this evening to discuss. Under board and committee appointments, I have 4 items. The first being council's consideration for the reappointment of Mr. Frank Kavanaugh to the Board of Appeals.
I'll move the appointment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go reappoint Frank Kavanaugh. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
She, yeah.
Ms. Hayes?
And the next item, council, is consideration of council to reappoint Ms. Cindy Reichert to the Short-Term Rental Review Board.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to reappoint Mrs. Cindy Riker back to the what board was it? I'm sorry.
This would be the Short-Term Rental
The
Review
short-term
Board.
rental, I'm sorry. Yep. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
And the next item would be council's consideration for the appointment of Mr. Kevin Moran to the Agricultural Resolution Board.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So we got a motion second to reappoint Mr. Kevin Moran to his, can you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
And finally, under, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Finally, under committee and board appointments, asking council's consideration for the appointment of Commissioner Nate Hochster from Queen Anne, the town of Queen Anne, to the Frederick Douglass Park on the Tuckahoe Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and second to put Mr. Nate Hochster on the, what board?
Frederick Douglass Park
Frederick
on the
Douglass.
Tuckahoe
Yep,
Committee.
Yep, sorry, Frederick Douglass Board. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay.
And council, I have another number of issues here, and I'd like to invite Brian LaCates up. As Brian comes up, Brian's asking for a renewal of a mutual benefit and use agreement with Crowder Golf, Ashbrit, and DRC Emergency Services by piggybacking on existing contracts with Cecil, Montgomery, and Howard counties respectively. And they'll share additional detail and be available to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stamp. So this is a three no-cost contracts for debris management. So this would be in the event that we have such a storm that it overwhelms our local capabilities of our county roads, state highway, things of that nature, where we have too much debris, whether that's limbs and branches or household debris from homes that have gotten destroyed. So in a catastrophic event, we could be quickly overwhelmed with the amount of debris that we would be able to deal with on a local basis. So this allows three different contracts to be activated only upon our request. Then the companies would come in and they would deal with the debris on our behalf. So they are no cost until we activate. They only activate on our request. We are asking for three separate contracts in the event that other areas are impacted as well. There's a lot of different municipalities and counties that and states that also have contracts with these same companies. So if we diversify and make sure that we have multiple different companies, if one's overwhelmed and can't meet our needs, then we had options to move along to the next or the next. So that's why we're asking for three different ones. And like I said, no cost until we activate. And typically we would only activate if there's a declaration where we would get reimbursed for it. So.
Okay. So are we doing just one vote or three votes?
One vote would authorize the signing of all three no-cost contracts.
Okay, great.
And real quick.
Yep, sure.
Council President, so this agreement with Cecil, Montgomery, and Howard County, I'm assuming that's just to leverage economies of scale with piggybacking on those contracts?
We're piggybacking on competitively bid contracts, yes, sir.
Excellent,
So
thank
that's a procurement.
Okay. Okay. We got a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and contract with three bidders that will pick up debris on storms when activated from 911. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you all.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
the
you
support.
guys.
Thank you. Ray, you want to come up? As Ray's coming, thank you, Brian, Geneva. Thank you very much. As Ray comes up, you have a request from the Department of Public Works to award architectural engineer design services for the two-tier driving range structure at Hog Neck Golf Course. Bid number 2208, open-ended architectural engineering services. Ray is here to give you additional information and is available to answer questions. I'll fill in whatever he doesn't provide.
Sure. Again, this is working with, I guess, Rich Setter on this. This is associated with getting architectural services primarily from Davis, Bowe, and Friedel. We utilized our open-ended engineering services agreement for architectural services, and under that we had RAW Incorporated as well as Davis, Bowe, and Friedel, and Davis, Bowe, and Friedel was the lowest bid on that, so, in the price submitted.
And the amount of that is $144,700, just for the record.
Mm-hmm. So moved.
I'm sorry, I do have one question for that, Ray. So I did notice that it's a big difference in the bids. Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I would say, it was, Rich was meeting with both the firms on the overall scope, and I don't understand why there was such a difference in that. I mean, it may have been something that, maybe Rao thought there was something more or extra that needed to be done. At this point in time, I think that was, both firms have done work for us.
Yeah, I know it's not that. It was more. I know both companies, and both companies are phenomenal, but you wouldn't think it would be that big
much,
a difference.
Yeah. It may have been a misreading on the scope on one of the firm's parts. So at this,
I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. I'll take your recommendation. Go ahead.
No, Council, Rich Sutter couldn't be here this evening. He's
Yeah.
out of town on county business.
Okay.
That being said, he has to be in here on the 13th. He has a proposal on rates at the golf course. If you'd like to defer this into the 13th, we can do so. We can look at that and have him come in and speak to that.
I don't know if that would hold anything up or not. I'm just a little bit more making sure that we're apples to
understand.
apples, and that's all. I mean, it's basically half.
I understand.
You know, so do you think it would hold anything up, or?
I do not. I think we should hold it to the 13th, and we'll do our due diligence report.
Okay, that would be great. Is council okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that okay?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
You know,
I just want to
Like to
make
move
sure
it
there's
along.
nothing
I'd like
missed.
to move it along, but.
How, do you want to do it?
I'd like
I
to
don't
move it.
mind it, and he can check on it in the background. That's fine. We'll go ahead and push it forward. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Well, do we need a second?
We did have a second, did we?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
The next item you have, Gray's here, requesting recommendation award, construction phase engineering services bid 2311, resolution number 250 under bid number 2208, open-ended architectural engineering services. And he'll explain that
Sure
to
thing.
you. as well.
Basically, Century Engineering is actually the design firm for the infrastructure going from St. Michael's out to the properties associated with Resolution 250, which is Bosman and Nevitt. Ultimately, Century, as the engineer of record, they have provided us a proposal for administration of engineering services for this project. So this is their services during construction for engineering. And this would probably be location of valves. If there's any kind of questions associated with, the design or some, pipe sizing, they would be there to answer those questions.
Great.
Mr. Clark, we have two bids that we're looking at tonight on this, and before we vote on this first one, could you simply explain the difference? One is for construction phase engineering services, the other is for construction inspection services. Is essentially one engineering service seeing that the work of the other, or that a third contractor is doing is meeting the
Right.
the bid specifications?
At this point in time, like if there's a change order request, that would probably come forward to from the contractor to the inspector. The inspector would review that, but then they would have to contact Century Engineering as the engineer of record to review that. It's usually referred to as an RFI, a request for information, that then could potentially gets transformed into a change order. So there'd be some questions about that. That would have to be directed to the engineer of record. In this case, what we have is with Century, they don't have a local construction inspection person on the shore. They would have to bring them out of Huntsville, is my understanding. So we actually have Lane Engineering currently providing the construction inspection services for the county. They did the design for Resolution 235, so they're pretty much the engineer of record and the construction inspector. They're providing the construction inspection services. Because they're local and we have the ability to go out, utilize them, they will be cheaper or less expensive, basically, to utilize Lane than getting somebody out of Huntsville.
So typically, these would both be done by the same engineering firm, but because the low bidder for construction phase is not local,
Right.
There's a cost savings in splitting these two up.
And exactly, and I think at this point in time, both the projects are very, very similar in that we're extending sewer and the installation of the piping and whatnot from Resolution 235 is very, very similar to what we're doing in 250. So in this case, you have two firms. Basically, one firm, Lane Engineering, is doing 235. Century was awarded the design services for Resolution 250. They've completed that. That's gone out to bid. We currently have two construction contracts. One with Vertalic and with Schumer Incorporated, and the other was with Spring and Associates. So this again, because Century basically was the PE or the professional engineer on this design, they would be, we would have to turn to them for any type of questions associated with the design during construction.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
That's good.
And again, Resolution 250 is for
Resolution 250 is for Bosman Nevitt, and that, so the public and council knows as well, this is a capital project that any loan money that's provided would actually be paid back by those users. So there would be no funds coming out of the county on that.
Well, I know this has been a long time coming. I know this was approved by a council that precedes my time on this council, and I know that we have a lot of constituents who are looking forward to this this sewer extension down their peninsula. So I'll move approval of that that first bid for 2311.
In the amount of $86,196.80.
Okay, second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and approve bid 2311. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
And Ray, you can just articulate the second piece of that you talked a little bit about
Certainly.
now,
Right.
so that we can get a vote on that.
This is the engineering services with Lane Engineering. More or less what they would be doing is providing the construction inspection as well as the as-built recordation. So that what's happening, if there's a change in the field, they'll be doing red lines through those drawings and then submitting that to Century to be incorporated in the final as-built documents that be provided to the county. Their total contract price is $192,000, and again, that would be a Lane Engineering providing that service for the county as a construction inspector.
Okay.
I'll move approval for the award of this section of the inspection services to Lane as recommended by staff.
Yep. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept the second part of this for Lane Engineering. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
And Ray has another request of you this evening. Public Works is requesting funding from the Maryland, that he go after funding from the Maryland Water Quality Finance Program and USDA Rural Development for emergency replacement of a portion of the Martingham Vacuum Sewer Collection System, Section 3, for future emergency repairs, and he'll add additional detail.
And just so the council is, probably before Christmas, we have been working on an emergency situation in the vacuum system in Martingham, probably for the last 2 months, trying to find a problem. And we've been operating the system in a hand operation, so it's not been auto, so we've been having to have staff there 24/7. In that case, we were lucky. We found where the problem was yesterday. However, we still have issues with this system, and so we're going to still proceed moving forward with rural development and funding requests to MDE, see if we can't go ahead and make some repairs in this vacuum collection system. One of the things I try to explain to people, when we were dealing with the St. Michael sewer system, we were dealing basically with 400-foot sections and 5-foot length joints, or 5-foot lengths of pipe. That means we had 80 joints. Nowadays, we can actually eliminate it, so we only have 2 joints in that system, so groundwater can't come in. In a vacuum system, we've utilized PVC pipe, which comes in basically 20-foot long PVC sections or pipes sections. So we have a 300-foot run. We have 15 joints. If we can go to HDPE pipe, we can actually fuse the joints and have no joint sections. So that's what we're looking at trying to do, is go to HDPE pipe. So, and that would help solve the problem.
Bless you.
And Ray, I just have here the Department of Public Works is also requesting council approval to submit an application for funding through the USDA Rural Development Office, estimate of repairs between $100,000 to $1 million.
Correct. And we'll know more as we get into this, details.
Okay.
I'll move approval to apply for the funding.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Yep. Madam Secretary, we have a motion second to approve that funding. Can you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
And you have a request from the Department of Public Works to forward a letter to the City of Cambridge requesting discussion of phosphorus credits for nitrogen credits at Ferry Point. And Ray will add detail to this issue.
Yes. We've been working on a design for the Ferry Point Marina that consists of commercial lots and at a future date residential lots. I think there's like about 19, 20 residential lots. This would actually be a wastewater treatment system utilizing an ENR, Enhanced Nutrient Removal Wastewater Treatment Plant with BNR technology, which is microbiological reactors. That being said, we have worked basically with MDE to get a point source discharge. Part of that, MDE requested that we get a letter from the Watermen's Association for Talbot County, not objecting to that point source discharge, and we received that letter. We also, then MDE asked for a letter from the Dorchester County Watermen's Association for not opposing the discharge. They provided a letter not opposing it either. Unfortunately, though, when we with septic systems, a lot of times your phosphorus gets bound up in the soil, so we would actually have to get a credit from the Cambridge wastewater treatment plant for phosphorus because the United States no longer is providing let's say additional nutrients to go into our streams and rivers. So you have to work with different municipalities that have those discharge permits, and so the county would actually go ahead and trade a nutrient credit of total nitrogen from, let's say, the septic systems that we are bringing on to the wastewater treatment plant for that phosphorus credit, so that it would be a no-cost exchange for the nutrients.
So Cambridge has an ENR level plant.
Yes.
But they need credits despite that high level of treatment?
What's interesting on the phosphorus side typically, because now wastewater treatment plants are capable of a lot of times the permit was 0.3 milligrams per liter for phosphorus, and your phosphorus load was based upon that. One of the things that's happened, like for St. Michael's, the St. Michael's wastewater treatment plant, we were allocated 603 pounds of total phosphorus, and we're basically at 100 pounds, and we've been that way since 2008. So we have a significant amount of phosphorus for the Miles River. So in the case of Cambridge, I think the same thing's happening for them. They have a lot of phosphorus, but it would be advantageous for them to try and get some nitrogen.
By having a lot of phosphorus, in other words, they're discharging much less phosphorus than their permit would potentially allow them.
Right, and so the nitrogen actually allows them additional, probably allow them to connect more houses and whatnot through the nitrogen load. So the nitrogen's a little more, I guess the nitrogen is a little better for them to have the nitrogen versus for us. We don't have a phosphorus, we don't have an allocation for phosphorus, and septics do not have that allocation. So if you move a septic system off of from a septic system onto a wastewater treatment plant, you do not have a phosphorus load that goes with that. It's only a nitrogen load. So that it would be a transfer of that nitrogen.
Because the phosphorus stays bound up in the soil.
Correct.
The nitrogen is water soluble, and so that ultimately runs off into the surrounding waterways.
Yes. And so this is.
If we're building, if at Ferry Point we're building a new state-of-the-art ENR level, we can't meet the requirements just with the engineering of that plant? We
would still need some kind of load for phosphorus. So in this case, even if it's like 15,000 gallons a day, right now we're probably looking at this treatment plant being allocated up to about 19.2 pounds of total phosphorus. We probably won't utilize that, but we'll have that phosphorus available for that wastewater treatment plant. So all we're trying to do is get a little bit of that load, their phosphorus load, to be allocated to this facility. So it's not I think Cambridge, I'd have to verify, but they have a significantly higher phosphorus load in pounds per day than what we're requesting, which is 19.2 pounds. So, like I said, St. Michael's right now, it's designed for 660,000 gallons per day, and that's 603 pounds there. So I mean, we're not talking, and I can find out what Easton is.
So essentially, the discharge permit that MDE is proposing for this new plant, the discharge permit would allow 0 phosphorus. And so we have to buy credits to get us down to that point?
Right. Right now, we do not have phosphorus available to us. So we would have to get a nutrient trade for being able to discharge into the Chop Tank River. So what's happening is the phosphorus, we're trading our nitrogen load credits to Cambridge in an effort to get their phosphorus load. So the phosphorus load from my wastewater treatment plant, let's say, stays the same. Let's just assume it's like 2,000 pounds for the Chop Tank River, and let's say Cambridge is only using 500 pounds. You know, they would be giving us just under 20 pounds, but they still have the remaining load that would be for that Chop Tank River for them. And it's, at this point in time, what we're requesting is the ability to go discuss the negotiations with the city of Cambridge at this time.
Okay.
With this, what can you tell us about the timetable for the Ferry Point? How does this fit in with the timetable?
We would have to get this load trade, this credit trade, that would have to be set in place and approved. And we would then have to work with the county council on an agreement and probably an ordinance establishing that we can utilize that total phosphorus that would then be created, so we can then create a wastewater treatment plant that would then serve those properties out at Ferry Point.
Okay. There are further review steps to be had with this.
Yes,
so this is simply an opening request.
Right, and at this point in time, we still, from the permit standpoint, once we've got entered into this trade with the city of Cambridge, we still have to go through the public hearing process for a permit, discharge permit. So we're probably maybe 2 years out at this point.
Okay.
So this is basically to start discussions, to start gathering information,
and then ultimately, get that load, and then we move forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to go ahead and push the letter forward?
I'll move to forward the letter.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, a second, to go ahead and send a letter to Cambridge in open discussions for phosphorus and nutrient credits. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Okay.
And while Ray's here, Council, if you don't mind, I'll ask that he make a brief announcement on the construction projects, just to make you aware
Yes.
and the public aware on Goldsboro Neck and Glebe Road.
Do you
So
have
Ray,
the-
want to
is
share
it up
that
here?
information?
The detour all the way on the left on the bottom.
Detour.
If you click it once, and then we can.
Oh.
On the left, yep. Down, yep.
You can X out of that sidebar up there. There you go. There we go.
Okay. Council, we are currently in the process of looking to close Goldsboro Neck at Glebe Road to replace the culvert. We have been in discussions with David A. Bramble. At this point in time, we were estimating the closure date is February 7th, with the reopening on March 7th. Based upon my discussions with David A. Bramble this morning, we're now looking at closing the road on or about February 12th, with the reopening on March 12th. One of the issues we were running into is that there is a stream prohibition that starts March 1st. We've been working with MDE on that, and they are asking us to continue to move forward with trying to get the culvert replaced before the stream prohibition, but they'll work with us if there is a delay. So we have been working with MDE on this as well. Ultimately, we were looking at a 30-day delay. I've notified the Sheriff's Office, Department of Emergency Services, public school systems, and now we're working to notify the public. We will be establishing vehicle message boards, and we'll be putting those up probably Monday, notifying the general public that the road will be closed on or about February 12th. And we're coordinating to have the equipment and the materials delivered during that week. So, again, this would be a full road closure. And then once work is underway, our game plan is if we can go to a partial road closure, we will do so as quickly as we can within that 30-day time frame. And from the detour standpoint, I should point out, from the detour, we are looking at posting, I guess, the detour signs roughly around where just before Villa Road, that you would then turn into the new, let's call it Mistletoe Hall Industrial Park, and then you would come around through that and then exit out through, I guess, where Mary's Court is, where the new public safety complex is, coming out on that on the Glebe Road. If you're coming Glebe Road, you'll have to come into, you'll have to turn that way to come, off of Glebe Road into the Mary's Court, and then go up and then out to Goldsboro Net Road if you want to utilize that. We're hoping most of the traffic that's potentially using Glebe Road will probably run out to 322 rather than try to run back up. So we believe local traffic will more than likely will utilize, whatever, the easiest route that's they know is available to them. The other point I would make is local traffic will be allowed to come in, not from Glebe Road, but basically they'll be allowed to turn left and go to their houses and also get to Villa Road as well from that. So any questions?
And our communications manager is working closely with Ray. We have a press release ready, and we'll make sure it gets on social media, and we'll push it out in as many ways as we can to alert the public to this.
Okay.
And keep
good.
updates going out.
Great. Good job, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item I have, council, is I'm requesting approval of additional American Rescue Plan ARPA funds from Talbot County for the replacement of the Dover Brook apartment complex in Easton. As you read in your agenda packet, Penrose and the Housing Authority of Talbot are seeking additional ARPA funds for the Dover Brook apartment redevelopment project. The project was recently awarded $400,000 in community legacy grant through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. The county's ARPA committee is recommending the council consider allocating an additional $150,000 in ARPA funds contingent on the town of Easton also contributing $150,000. There are sufficient ARPA funds available, and council member Lesher certainly can speak to the committee and their feelings on this as well.
So the ARPA committee did take a look at this as we've heard, because we've been sort of waiting for the announcement of this of the federal funding piece on this, and when it's federal, yes. And when that came through at 400,000, that reduced the total $700,000 gap, which they'd asked to split evenly between the county and the town. That's now a $300,000 gap, and if we're going to split that evenly between the county and the town, that takes our share to $150,000. The Dover Brook, we've heard presentations on this. This is assisted housing with assistance for the costs. The residents are qualified a number of different ways to enter there. They're drug tested. There's income qualifications and so forth. We know that they are with this new project completely rebuilding Dover Brook from really a worn-out early '70s facility to one that will last hopefully the next 50 years, and we'll add a number of units. I believe 14 more units in the process. I think that there's a public good that comes out of this, and the ARPA committee is I think relieved as we are that the ask has come down to $150,000 from us, not $350,000.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
No questions, but worth the wait. It's more that we get to allocate locally to Talbot.
Yep, yep.
Right.
And this puts us, if we all agree to this 150, this puts us at our part at 400 that we've put into it.
Correct, because we've already
Yes.
committed $250,000 of
Correct.
ARPA funding toward the same project.
Correct. So between us and the town, we put 800,000. That's a big deal that we've committed to this community.
And if anyone hasn't seen yet, construction is underway.
Yeah, and right, exactly. So,
And also, it certainly meets the intent. I mean, for those that recall, pretty extensive public survey went out on the use of the ARPA funds, and we got a very good response from the public, and this certainly meets one of the prioritized categories for expending the ARPA funds.
Yep. Okay, do I have a motion?
So they received the community legacy money?
They did.
Oh, okay, good.
Mhm.
Did they
Original
send us something to that effect? Because our letter's
Yeah,
old.
we do have information. They did send us information that they were awarded $400,000 in a community legacy grant through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development.
That's good.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and commit another 150,000 of ARCA money. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay.
And finally,
Aye.
a request from the Department of Planning and Zoning to participate in the FY 2024 Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation, otherwise known as MALF, easement acquisition matching funds. As you read in your agenda packet, the Department of Planning and Zoning is requesting council consideration to allocate matching funds in the amount of $100,000 toward the FY 24 MALF program. We have Brennan and Elisa here to speak to you in detail about this.
You're welcome, guys.
Good evening, members of the council. Brennan Tarleton with Department of Planning and Zoning. Alongside me is Elisa DeFlo, also with the Department of Planning and Zoning. I'm going to turn it over to her to elaborate for you.
Okay.
The Talbot County has a certified MALF program. We currently, as of FY '23, had 88 easements and have preserved over 13,000 acres of agricultural land. This match is the minimum match. It's from the agricultural transfer tax, and it goes towards preserving more farmland.
Okay.
And I recall that there's a scoring system such that this funding is used to put easements on the best quality farmland available.
Absolutely. There's adjacency requirements, soils, those types of, qualifying things.
I know that Talbot County has fallen behind some surrounding counties in agricultural land preservation, and I'm hopeful that we will find a way of supplementing the funds that we get from the agricultural transfer tax to make this program more effective and perhaps catch up to our surrounding jurisdictions in the way we preserve farmland, which is such an important part of Talbot County's past and Talbot County's present character.
Absolutely.
Okay. So do we have a
Well,
motion?
with that, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and approve the MALF program. Madam Secretary, would you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Brennan and Lisa.
Thank you, members of the council.
you.
I also just wanted to add as well, to the tune of Mr. Lesher's comments there. We look forward to working with all of you going into the budget cycle and discussing the money available to us that we've already contributed to the MALF funds to see how we could leverage those potentially in the future to increase our contribution to the program, because it is very important to the county from a preservation perspective.
That's good. No, I
So,
appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for sticking around all night, too.
Yes, thank you for your
Y'all did a great
patience.
job tonight. Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, thank you.
So council, that completes your county manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, good job, Mr. Stamp. Okay, let's see, we've got, all right. We have public comment, don't we?
Nobody signed up.
No-
Got
nobody
an
saw-
empty room.
Got an empty room, okay, all right. All right,
No one heard a word.
we've got council comment. You want to start off with anything tonight, or you good?
I do. I've got just a few things.
Okay.
Just since our last meeting with the, it was nice to have to join Vice President Lesher and Councilwoman Milky at the Oxford Fire Banquet, along with Mr. Stamp. That was a wonderful time. So I want to thank them for having us out, and look forward to delivering some great news and some future checks to our other fire departments here in the county.
Yeah.
It's great to join our Board of Education on the 16th. That was another wonderful meeting to find out, just where we are with the, with the situation in the county and our students. So that was wonderful. And I have an official grand opening announcement here that I'll read officially, and then offer some personal comments in addition to. So the grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony for the Talbot County Parks and Recreation Gymnasium will be held on Wednesday, January 31st, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Ice Rink and Community Center out at 10028 Ocean Gateway in Easton. Following the ribbon cutting, visitors will be able to tour the space, learn about rental opportunities, and try out the courts. There will also be a raffle for a limited edition Parks and Recreation gift basket and light refreshments. So that's the official part. The unofficial part is it looks absolutely amazing out there. I hope everyone does take advantage of this opportunity to come out for the grand opening, just to see all the improvements we've made over the last few years out at the community center. Think about the, not just the gym, but the improvements we made to the ice rink, the outdoor improvements we've made with the Bermuda grass and the irrigation. It's turning into a world-class facility out there. The pickleball courts. Some really good stuff happening out at the community center. So hope to see a lot of folks out there on the 31st.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
I have nothing further.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that in addition to going to the Oxford Fire Company, the next night I appeared on behalf of the council at TRAP Fire Company with our county manager, and it was an enjoyable event. They're just great people, and they do so much, and it was a pleasure to be able to give them their contribution from the county.
Yeah, that's great. And the only thing I would say is to follow up with Oxford and TRAP, that we went to Cordova and had a great time with those guys and ladies too. So, it's good to share the money and you can see where it goes and the new equipment. And so I think we have a few more banquets to go to. We got St. Michael's. And I didn't see, has Tilbin come out yet with their banquet?
Nope.
Yeah. So we got St. Michael's and Easton.
Queen
yeah,
Anne.
and Queen Anne. Yep, left. So go.
Easton too, right?
Yeah, Easton. Yeah.
Easton.
So, other than that, Mr. Lesher, you want to?
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 13th, beginning at 6 o'clock p.m. The council will be convening in open session at 4:30 p.m. and then adjourning into closed session as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. On Tuesday, February 6th, the County Council will be holding a work session in the Bradley Meeting Room at 3 o'clock p.m. to discuss the draft impact fee study with consultant Tischler Buys. At 5 o'clock p.m. that evening, the County Council will be meeting with representatives from the towns of Easton, Oxford, Queen Anne, St. Michael's, and Trapp in the Easton Library Meeting Room. Both meetings are open to the public. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved. Okay. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Wow. Okay, thank you.